Thank you so much for being here. We are on week 4 of Activated Live already. I can't believe how fast time is going. I also feel like I should put some makeup on because I look really drained, but never mind. I've got a little bit of makeup on, but maybe a bit of blusher. Today, we are going to talk about, we're going to talk about a number of things. This request came in from one of you guys in the community about how I kind of get this vision for the longer term plans, because I always seem to have like a plan of like where I'm going to and the steps I'm going to take, and struggling to connect to this longer term vision. So this is like the first thing that came through. I was like, okay, I want to speak into this, but I'm going to expand on that and also talk about holding that space between the vision of where we want to get to and where we are now, and not kind of getting frustrated and wanting to throw everything out because we're not in the longer term vision, if we have got one. Because again, the question was like, I don't have a longer term vision, I'm just kind of here. But if we have one, right? And I'm literally here channeling. I have not had any time to think about what I'm going to talk about today. So what comes through is going to have to be perfect and trust it's going to be the right thing. So, okay, so the first thing then, how do I plan? So I'm going to be microphoning because it's really far away. Make sure the volume is okay for the recording. How do I plan? I plan in multiple ways, right? I have how I plan in my life, and I have how I plan with my clients, and they are completely different. I have ex-marketeer, strategist, how I take my clients through stuff, and then I have, this is how I do it in reality, right? So this is how I do it in reality. Let's start there. I don't sit down to plan. I do not sit down to plan. I follow downloads as they come in, and I just follow them. So often you'll find these come in when you're in flow state. So you're out on a walk, you're in the shower, you're doing cooking, you're in some kind of flow state activity where you're not thinking about stuff, and you'll just get downloads coming in. That is literally how I run my business. I get usually in the shower, sometimes when I'm driving, if I'm not voxering clients or chatting to people, because I do quite often doing that in the car as well. If I'm usually get a download in the shower, and I'll be thinking like, I'm going to do this. And then like, oh, and I can do this. And then that leads to this. And I just follow the nudges. I literally just follow, oh, I've had this idea to do this, and I'll do it. And then and I could do this, and this could link to this, it could do this. And that's honestly what I do. That is literally my planning process. Now, having said that, I am kicking off in a mastermind in June, where I know I'm to get the most out of that, I'm going to have some kind of plan in place to be able to talk my mentor through, to share what I'm doing, right? So I am going to get stuff down on paper, but it's not like I'm sitting there going, I really need to know exactly where I'm going, and I need a plan for the 2 years, and I'm going to write it down. Like, that doesn't come into my world. That's like, I just follow it. And linked to this is allowing ourselves to pivot. So sorry, show the time again. Allow ourselves to like not be attached to that. And I'm going to come back to that message. Now, when I do it with my clients, however, I do literally plan stuff out. And some of my clients are like, I actually nearly put this on my stories once because it's really funny. I was working with a Capricorn client, super Capricorn, 5 placements in Capricorn. And she was like, I need a plan for my launch. And I was like, do you want an Excel sheet? She said, I want an Excel sheet. This is the best thing ever. And I literally did her an Excel sheet. And I was telling her when she was doing collaborations with other people's podcasts, when she was doing this, when she was doing that, all these different things, what she was going to do when. And she was like, it was the best thing ever. I was like, that would stress me out. If I had something like that and I felt like I had to stick to it, I would constantly feel like I was behind, or I wasn't in line, and all these different things. And that's what I hated about corporate. All my agencies had these really brilliant spreadsheets, and I was like, brilliant, you know what you're doing. I'm never going to look at that thing. You just crack on, guys. Like, you do what you want with that sheet. I will never look at it, because me and spreadsheets are not best friends. And I think that's my Taurus Mars, like, we are tenacious. We work really hard. We never give up. We keep going, but we're also lazy. So if there's an easy way to be hardworking, we will do it that way. So that is my theory. So anyway, yeah. So, so for example, with my clients, we do our soul business mapping VIP days. My one-to-one clients get a free one of those included, and we will literally sit out and we'll map everything out. But I personally don't do that. Now, if you want a plan and you're struggling to okay, so I'll take that back a step. I think we should all have a vision of where we want to go. Not necessarily from a business perspective, not like I want to make X amount in the next 2 years, or I want to, whatever it is, right? Don't necessarily need. Sorry, I just noticed there are more people around than I'd let in the room. So I was just letting somebody in quickly. We don't necessarily need it from that perspective. So I was just joining, I'm just going to say that bit again. We don't necessarily need, I want to be making X amount of money by this particular time as a goal. What I do want you to have as a goal is what you want your life to look like. So how your business is going to support that. Because for me, my life revolves around, my goals revolve around, I want much more freedom. I want to travel more regularly. I want to go on regular holiday with the kids and the husband. I want to eat out every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I want to do stuff every weekend. I want to, knock off at 3:30 every day and go and pick the boys up at 4 and have a nice evening before bath and bedtime, right? I don't want to start work before like 9 o'clock. Like I have an overall thing of like, this is how I want my life to look. And then the business needs to support that. The business needs to get me there. But it's not like I want to be, I'm absolutely not somebody who has got any ambition to be in Forbes. It actually horrifies me, the thought of being in a massive publication like that. I know a lot of people have that as a goal, don't they? Right. Which is absolutely amazing. If that's your goal, you're like, I want to be on Forbes, or I want to be on the Diary of the CEO podcast, or like you can have goals like that. Like I want to be this like huge name like that. I have a clear vision, and I've had this since day one. And I did a post about this really recently. I'm standing on stages talking to people. I am likely talking on stages about women burnout and corporate burnout specifically. But even running our own business and burning out, and how looking after our health as we build our businesses, blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's probably what I'm on stages talking about around the world, right? And obviously, so at the moment, I'm getting invited into memberships and masterminds and those sorts of spaces and talking about it. And that's like one little step along the way. I'm not physically standing on stages. Could I be standing on stages now? Yes, I could be. For example, there's networking places in Manchester I could put myself forward for. And, there's a big marketing agency, for example, that I know they would have me as a guest. But I'm not like, now it's like, I don't feel like that has to happen right now. Does that make sense? It's like, I want to be standing on stages, but this is a longer term plan. And at the moment I'm doing other stuff and I haven't got time to do everything. And it's not like an urgent call. I am channeling out. I don't know what's coming out of my mouth. So yeah. So having some kind of longer term vision, I want you to think about how you want your business to support your life, so that you, instead of you being in your business all the time, what do you want your life to look like? How can your business support in your life dreams? And then have these little dreams. So, if you want to be an author, if you want to be a public speaker, if you want to be an XYZ, if you want to be like, one of my clients was like, I want a cult following. Like I want all the celebrities working with me, and I want to be this cult thing that people want. That can't necessarily access me because I'm like this kind of like so cult and expensive and out of touch, and it's just the celebrities again, me, which is cool. So yeah. So follow the nudges. You're going to get downloads, and it may be that you don't listen to them. You may get like these little messages and you don't realize that it's a message from the business, from the universe saying you need to do this thing. So follow that, implement it, and then see what comes. So this is the example that came up, right? So when I was in the process of transitioning out my health business and going full-time in my business coaching business, I was chatting through what that roadmap looked like. But it wasn't that. I sat down and I was like, pen to paper, okay, how can I make this transition work? How can I go full time in it and start plotting it out and thinking it through? I was just like, right, I need people to know that this is what I do as quickly as possible and be in my live energy as quickly as possible. Because I know when people in my live energy, they reach out and want to work with me one-to-one, right? So I need to go live more often, right? So I could be going live on Instagram more often. Nothing to stop me going live on Instagram every single day, but I just had this like nudge, like, well, I want to do this weekly thing on Zoom. Don't ask me why. There's no rationale behind it. It was just like, I want to do this live thing on Zoom. People can come in, they can ask questions in chat. I can get to know people in there. We build relationships. Then people will have been around me. Then people can be like, how could I work with you, Lynda? Either come into my one-to-one, they'll come to Let's Make Money Honey, they'll come into my mastermind when that launches, whatever it is, like people are going to warm it, right? So I had this idea. And then I also have my 12-month immersion, Let's Make Money Honey experience. So I'll say this in case anyone doesn't know about it. So that launched off the back of me wanting to run a series of monthly workshops in specific subjects I really wanted to speak into around blocks to having wealth. So low self-worth, low confidence, and then that's your money manifestation, the whole process, how we manifest money, right? And I wanted to do that to start with. And then I started to map out all the master classes, and I was like, I've easily got enough for like a 12-week program here, but I was a full-time mum. I was already doing all my other things. I was like, I have not got time to do a 12-week program. What I have got time to do is a 12-month immersion where we meet once a month. So then not only am I giving these like masterclasses once a month, but I can put more into it. I can do breath work every single month. I can do all these extra things to make it a bit more meaty. And so I've never thought I would ever do a membership. I've always thought memberships are not for me. I'm a projector. I don't have consistent energy. I can't commit to showing up every single like month, whatever it is. But showing up for Let's Make Money Honey experience every single month, I am proving to myself, well, I can show up every single month if it's something that I'm passionate about. And then launching Activated Live, I'm like, well, actually, I can show up every single week if it's something that I'm passionate about. The thing was, I've just never had a desire to hold a monthly circle to talk about women's health. Never had the desire for it. Never will I ever have the desire for that. Happy to run group programs. Do not want to show up every single week. Happy to go live and just randomly riff on stuff, but I don't want a membership. I don't want a women's health membership. Never have wanted a women's health membership. So this takes me to, is your niche the right niche? Right? We're going to talk about this tomorrow in the, if you're here, you'll have free access to tomorrow's training for sure. So make sure you jump in that, or you watch the replay when I do it, because it's a 6-figure blueprint we're doing tomorrow in Let's Make Money Honey. But like, have you got the right niche? Are you teaching what you really want to teach? Are you helping the people you really want to help? Like, is it a block? It's like, well, I'm just not passionate about this subject, so I don't want to talk about it all the time. And if you're not passionate about it, so you don't want to talk about it all the time, then I suggest you find your thing, because my mindset with my business is I'm not in a rush, right? I'm not trying to hit I am trying to hit certain figures each month. Of course I am. I've got bills to pay. And also, you get a bit of a dopamine hit when you start hitting those big numbers and you want them to continue. And this month was all about me proving I could do the 5-figure months without a launch, like just get it in from like passive stuff. Like that is like, yeah, amazing, cool, nailed it, right? It gets addictive. You want to keep doing, you want to keep growing, right? We've got these goals, but I'm here forever. Me and my business are here forever. So it's not like I'm trying to like just rush and get to like £1 million next year, even though end of 2024 is my £1 million year. Like I've already got that as a goal. It's like, it's a loose goal, right? It'd be nice to get 1 million next year, but it might take me 10 years to get there. As long as I'm moving forward, as long as I'm enjoying my work, as long as I've, got enough to have the lifestyle that I want, I don't need to hit that, right? So it's about having these like long-term, being it for long-term, and you get to pivot, you get to change. I have had so many rebirths, right? I started off as a burnt out corporate women's specialist, moved into fertility, moved out of fertility, went back to the burnout thing, then rebirthed into this whole like healthy weight loss and anti-diet industry thing on the health side at the start of this year. And then obviously going very much back into like what I was doing at the start, burnt out corporate boss babes who want to leave their jobs and launch their businesses. Low self-worth, perfectionism, getting in their own way, blocking themselves from making the moves, or they've got this side hustle, which is amazing, but they can't take it full time. Like, and it's kind of where it started, right? So, I mean, it shows that what I wanted to do at the start was the right thing. But having something that you really, really love, something you're really passionate about is going to be a starting point, so that you can then start to have some longevity with your business. I'm really going off on, and I'm trying to bring myself back. So is it the right niche? Is it the right person? Start dreaming ahead. And then in terms of like, where are we versus where we want to get to, right? So this is the other thing. Did I finish that story? So yeah, so then I was like proving myself, I had this membership. I'll just come back to that really quickly, right? So I'm proving I can have a membership. So the obvious next, so I'm like thinking to myself, right, I've got Activated Live going on. Oh, I can do this every week. And I've got Let's Make Money Honey every month. Well, actually, I could talk about business all day long to any woman. I don't work with men. Any woman that really wants to build a business. It's really funny, right? This other day, one of my old colleagues that I used to work with in corporate, he used to run the in-store design agency, and he reached out to let me know he was like moving through something. because I'd done a post about mental health, and he reached out and he said, I saw you posting mental health and I'm moving through this thing and I'm going through this thing. And then someone said, this is a sign from the universe, you need to support men. And I was like, this is not a sign from the universe. Like, I had no bodily reaction to that whatsoever. It was like, this is just a mate reaching out and like, he wants some support. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is different. Anyway, so you'll know, right? You'll know who you want to support. But I started to get this evidence, right? I can do this. And so then I was like, well, let's make Money Honey experience. Like, it's a 12-month thing, but that, and you know, people can buy it anytime. You get lifetime access, all the different things, right? But like this iteration of it's going to end in October, I think, September, maybe. It'll be like the last month. So it's like, well, actually, that's like obvious that grows into a membership. Let's Make Money Honey membership, and it starts having these monthly trainings. Do I know what that looks like? Do I know how many calls are going to be a month? Do I know like what the trainings will be? Do I know if there'll be a Voxer group with support? Do I know if there's going to be, you know, whatever? I haven't got a clue. I just had this clear download. Okay, this is what happens. I feel like Let's Make Money Honey experience. Come to the end of it. I'm like, guys, if you've really loved this is the low cost membership. You can keep journeying with me. We'll kick off 1st of January, for example. Again, could start in October. Don't know when it'll start. I'm not attached to the actual timeline. I'm not attached to it all being absolutely perfect. I'm allowing things to change. I may get 3 months down the line, decide I actually no, I don't want to do that. Just want to focus on the mastermind and one-to-one. I actually want to just I just want to go high ticket. Don't want a low cost thing. That'd be a really stupid move from a business perspective, as you're going to learn tomorrow in the blueprint. But I can change my mind. I can do something different. I might just have Activated Live as a free thing instead of doing low cost membership, for example, right? I'm not attached to it. And this non-attachment is really important. So the other sort of link to this, so my like healthy weight loss program, Nourished You, I knew I wanted to do 3 rounds this year. I knew I wanted to run that and run that and run that. So I'm become famous for it. It sells itself. It's really low touch from me. I'm not having to do a lot. The trainings exist. I turn up for live Q&As with people, but it's not like I'm having to write content each week and produce the workbooks and then record them each week like I have done this first round. I've done it. It exists now. So that's a no-brainer. Why not have something that brings in 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't know how far it'll go, 1,000 every single quarter, every time I launch it, right? I knew I wanted to do 3 this year because I knew that I needed to wrap up that one before Christmas, and then people would want a fresh start in January again. And I looked at the dates to allow myself to have December off work, because last year I took the whole of December off and it was amazing and I loved it. And I actually did it from necessity because I'd completely burnt out and I was in a really bad place and I needed to take time away from my business. But I was like, that's actually a really good idea, just to plan ahead, take December off. December's really big. Both my boys have their birthdays in December. You know, Christmas, kids, all the things. But I'm coming up to the launch of the second round, and my diary is jam-packed right now. I am literally on the limit. Every day is like really full in amazing ways. It's amazing. It's full. But I'm like, actually, this second launch, I want to do it differently, because every time I've launched, when I used to run my fertility program, always done a free masterclass and sold up from the masterclass. And then if I haven't been getting the sales that I wanted, I'd run a second masterclass and do it again, right? And give it a second chance. Always done it like that. And I was like, I really want to try doing a 3-day challenge this time, because that gives people longer to be alongside me. They're not spending an hour with me and then like, buy now to get your free upgrade to so-and-so, whatever, like the fast action bonuses we give at the end, right? Gives them 3 days to really experience it, 3 days to implement their little homeworks and get and feel and notice a difference, and then be like, oh, wow, if this is what I'm getting in these little micro trainings, what will I get in the 12 weeks? Now, I haven't finished running the first round of Nourished You yet. I'm about to do module 8 straight after this. So I haven't even run the whole 12 weeks. I don't know which weeks people are going to love the most. People are going to like get the most value out of. People are going to get like the fastest like wins, like, oh, I implemented that and I got it, until I've done the whole 12 weeks. So for me, it'd be crazy to launch that 3-day challenge before I've even taught this whole program. So that means I'm pushing the launch back by at least 2-3 weeks, probably 4 weeks. Now, I could have a heart attack over that and be like, oh my God, I'm not going to fit my 3 rounds in and have my December off, right? But please use the chat, guys, if you want to interact in any way. You're more than welcome to write things in there. And then I know you're alive if you've got your camera off as well and you're actually here, because at the moment I've just got like one person smiling at me. I could have this heart attack, but I'm like, I'm so trusting. It was like, do you know what? The timing's got to be right. I want this launch to feel as easy as possible. Laid back launching is going to be one of the modules in Let's Make Money Honey as well, because my last launch was so blooming easy. It was so relaxed. It all comes from content. Little hot tip there, guys. We'll talk about it. But it was just like, just create content, told the people it was available, people were buying it, it's all cool, right? But I want the next launch to be bigger. And so I was like, whoa, I'm going to put it back. I'm going to work out which are the best modules that people are going to like for a 3-day challenge. Not saying like they're the best modules in the whole program. You know, there may be better modules in the program that are going to get like, you know, overall are going to get bigger results, but which are the ones that are like easy to understand, easy to implement, and feel better, like feel like something's changing, right, in this 3 days, right? So that's what I mean. So yeah, and so I'm just trusting. I'm like, well, that's the right thing. I need to push it back. There's no reason, once this content exists, like I say, it's really low touch for me. I'm not doing much. Why can't programs overlap? Like if I want to still fit it in, I could be going into the 3rd round when I'm 6 weeks into the 2nd round. There's no reason, you know, people getting FOMO. I'm sharing to my stories that I've got, you know, this next round in a reshoot, it's going really well. The doors are closed, but you want to jump in the next one. There's no reason why that can't start at week 7. And I've got this overlap going on, right? I could be running 6 rounds a year instead of 4, for example. So yeah, don't get too tied in to what you desire to do. Like, allow things to change. Then when we get into this, it has to be this way. And if it's not working, we start to feel like we're failing, right? And then we quit. So it has to be like, oh, change my mind. I change my mind. I'm allowed to change my mind because this is what I do. I was just thinking the views changed, but I hope that doesn't mean it's gonna, I think that's just, okay, don't worry. I think it'll just be recording me. I've not changed my settings. I was just suddenly thinking stuff. It looks different to what it usually looks like. Okay. So how do we be where we are whilst we're also working towards a long-term goal? I know I don't want a health business forever, right? But I'm not shutting down my health business. And the problem, and that's a bit misleading because health is always going to be part of it, right? Because I'm helping burnt out people. So I incorporate the health stuff in my business coaching, right? So people get everything together. So it's not like I'm ever going to stop being a nutritionist. I'm never going to stop being a breathwork practitioner. I'm never just going to stop those things. Like, but what I mean is I don't want to just be working with people in nutrition forever. I don't, but at the moment that brings in like a nice regular income for me. So I am where I am. And trusting that all of those one-to-one clients that come in for that, I'm always learning from them. Like, they're not just learning from me. Like, no 2 clients are ever the same. Everyone's always coming in with a different mixture of symptoms and different stuff going on. So every time I'm working with a client, I'm learning stuff. So I'm always trusting that I'm working with that person for a reason. Where we can stumble is if we get so caught in what I'm doing now and we're not doing anything about moving towards where we want to get to, right? And so a lot of this comes from showing up as the person that has what you already have. So I show up every day as if I already have my end of 2024 $1 million business, even though I don't have that right now. But I still show up as it. I'm still like, I don't go on a live and be like, I don't know if you want to learn from me because at the moment I'm not having 6-figure months. I'm only having 5. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I show up like I've created this incredible thing and it's amazing and you want to learn from me and blah, 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? And I make decisions. Sorry, and processes as well. Having the systems and processes is a really important one. Having systems and processes in place to support you from day one, not waiting until you get there. So making sure you've got like the right funnel set up, you've got like all your accounting stuff set up appropriately, all that kind of stuff. Right at the start of my business, I just had my sip of water. Something's going on with this bottle where it keeps leaking and I don't know why, because it's glass. Right at the start of my business, I did everything manually and I didn't look at the numbers and I checked it like at the end of the year. And I was saying to somebody in this room, I gave myself a heart attack once when I realized just how much I'd spent 1 year, because I didn't realize, because I wasn't tracking it, right? If you want to be $1 million business owner, you're going to know, you are going to be looking at those numbers and knowing what's going on. So like checking my numbers every single day, knowing exactly where I am, what's going in, what's going out, where are we with stuff, like that $1 million version of me has that. So I look at those numbers. That $1 million version of me doesn't get afraid to show up online and speak. So I do that. That $1 million version of me has really great boundaries. Like the other day, somebody reached out about working with me one-to-one a few months ago, didn't sign up, and are now dropping into my DMs asking for advice with their Instagram posts on what to do. I'm like, no, this is not a free place for advice and coaching. You've reached out about one-to-one. You know what the deal is. Pay or make your own decisions. Like, I'm not here for free coaching. I value my time. I value my expertise all too much. That's a side note. Right. Well, how are we doing on time? How does this always go so quickly? Drop questions in the chat if you have any, if you have a specific scenario in your business that you're struggling with, or you want any advice, please let me know. Let me just tap in to the source and see if they want me to say anything else. For the channel of inspiration, I get downloads for other people. I might have downloads for you. If you're like, what the hell is she on about? That's just a human design channel, by the way, if you're not into human design. I only have 3 channels, and one of them is a channel of inspiration. So supposedly I get downloads for other people and not myself, which means I'm really great for giving other people ideas, but it's like trusting my own ideas is a little bit difficult. So yeah, follow the nudges as they come, implement as they come. Don't get fixated on, but what does this mean and where's it going to go to? Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Sorry, just come back to this. You know, I studied in nutrition first, and then I was like, I want to do mindset coaching, because I really started to realize that with the nutrition stuff, it was such a small part of it. Like, you can heal people's bodies with the nutrition, but if they weren't changing the behaviors that were driving it. And so for me, because it was low self-worth, perfectionism, overdoing, workaholism, all these different things are the root of my health issues. It was like, and the groundbreaking progress I'd had working with mindset coach. Then I was like, oh, I want to do mindset coaching. And then it was like, oh, I want to do breath work. Like these random nudges I was getting to these different certifications. None of it was with, and this is what my business will look like when I do these things. It was just like, these are really helpful tools for myself. I want to use them. Never did I think I'd launch a 12-month immersion where we do breath work every single month. That never crossed my mind. So yeah, so really trusting those nudges and just kind of noticing things will like pop in as and when. I'm not getting anything in the chat. Does this feel complete? Or do you want me to speak into anything else? I'm getting nods and shakes. Yeah, trust the process would be the last thing I say. Right. Thank you for coming live, everybody. If you haven't already, jump in Let's Make Money Honey Experience. Jump along tomorrow. We are going to talk about the 6-figure blueprint. It is going to be incredible. I don't just download on those sessions, by the way. They are more structured. There is always a plan. They're not just like, let's just riff on this subject. So it's going to be all good. Right. Thank you so much for coming. I'll see you next week.